Okay, in this video, how to fix the shot that goes to the right, whether it's a slight fade or a big slice. Chances are your sequence is not right on the downswing. So let's show you how to fix that sequence to get you back to hitting nice straight golf shots. Well, when I talk about the sequence of the downswing, I just mean the things that need to happen in the right order. So if they don't happen in the right order of 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever it might be, you'll have a hard time making a consistent downswing. There's a lot of backswings out there in golf. There's a lot of crazy ones. There's a lot of good ones. But you can have a crazy backswing. But if you can figure out the downswing and get the sequence right, you can still be a very consistent player and a very good ball striker. If you're out of sequence, what's going to happen is the club will immediately get off plane. And once it's off plane, when it starts the downswing, you'll have to then try to recover, doing a lot of crazy manipulations with the body and hands to try to get the club back to square. The more off plane you are, the more the ball is going to tend to curve. So let's talk about how to get the right sequence happening, no matter what your backswing might be. Okay, so for most players, when they get winding up, they're going to turn back, get the club up to the top. You might be a player that takes a little bit inside, a little bit outside, but as long as you're getting wound up and making a good wind up to the top of your backswing, and you're up like this, you can start to work on the sequence. You happen to be a baseball player or a player that's used to using the upper body a lot, even a hockey player. A lot of hockey players get the upper body really going hard. Of course, baseball gets a lot of spin with the upper body. And the more spin you create with the torso, the less likely you are to get the club on plane coming down. From this angle, when you're at the top, if you start spinning hard, you'll spin, the club goes over the top, the weight moves back towards your right leg. So you're spinning, the weight then tends to move back to the right leg. That opens up the window to cut across and swing way to the left. On a TrackMan, I'm going to show the path going way to the left for a negative number. And of course, that's going to wipe across the ball, creating spin that spins the ball off to the right. If we're doing it right, you're going to learn how to hold that upper body back like this. You'll find that if you wind it up and you're getting a good full turn, you're not as flexible. You need to turn those hips farther like I do. If you're more flexible, then you can go ahead and just turn the shoulders more than the hips. You can wind up better. For myself, I've got to turn my hips a little bit more to get the shoulders all the way back there. And now what's critical is from here is to get the hips moving laterally to start your downswing. You have to get the weight moving this direction so it moves to your left leg. Put this hip over your left foot. And from there, you can start to rotate. If, however, you start spinning the upper half and your upper body spins immediately, the weight's going to move to the back foot, and in particular, the ball of your back foot. You'll unweight your left heel, and that will spin your left foot around, and you'll be spinning backward this way. You're one of those players that just seems to never finish your swing, and all your friends are telling you to shift your weight and get over here, and you just can't do it. Chances are your sequence is wrong, and you're not starting with a movement that moves the lower body over to where your left hip is getting over your left foot. Now, taking a look from down the line, what we can see here is I get set up here nicely. I wind it up, kind of normal backswing where I'm up here. If I do it correctly, like I said, the hips are going to slide left a little bit to where your left hip slides over your left foot. That allows the arms to fall in, drop into the slot, keeps the shoulders square longer or closed longer, and allows you then to open up and get the club back to square and release it. So the club's coming from the inside back to square and releasing, which gets you right down the target line. Once again, if you're working with a launch monitor and you're trying to get your numbers right, you're trying to get the path closest to a 0 coming in, you're trying to get the face close to 0, that impact, all those things get easier as you start to get the sequence correct. If you do get up to the top, you add a sequence and you fire that upper body and it's going this way, and you can see how the club and the arms are working out over the plane. My weight then will move back to my back foot, and I'll open up all this area to cut across and swing to the left. I might even have a square club face at impact, but by cutting across that drastically, it's going to spin the ball and counter spin it off to the right. So it's super important that as you get lined up, you're in this position here. You're in a mirror, work on watching yourself in the mirror, bump those hips to the left. A full picture here. Wind it up to the top. Watch that lateral shift. That lateral shift will allow the arms to drop in, allow you to keep the shoulders closed longer. And if you're a player who's used to spinning really hard and really firing that upper half with aggression like baseball players do, you're going to have to work a lot in a mirror to watch yourself do it, to where you can wind it up, push those hips, feel the arm or watch the arms drop, and keep those shoulders closed as long as you possibly can. They're going to want to fire like crazy when the ball is there. So in a mirror, try to exaggerate, winding it up, push the hips over, keep those shoulders closed as long as possible, and then let everything come together. If you're a hockey player and you're used to really getting in here, and same thing, twisting hard, when you get a golf club and you wind up at the top, you'll spin so fast that even if you're used to trying to get it on plane, like a hockey stick would actually get on plane, you're so far ahead of it, you're just way out here ahead. And you're so far ahead of the club that it can't even catch up. And half the time, that club is going to come in wide open and hit the ball way to the right, super high right, all that speed and power from hockey, delivering the club with a wide open club face because you're so far ahead with the upper half and the face is just like this coming in. If you're a golfer that's just slicing and you're a new golfer and you're just cutting across it, that's different. That's a case of get these fundamentals dialed in, get your stance and grip, figured out like you'll see on many videos. And then from there, start working on simply bumping the hips, let the arms drop, and then let it release. You have a pattern built in your head from another sport, it's harder to fix. You must use video or you must use a mirror, slow everything down to see what's happening. If you're a newer golfer or you're just a slicer, and you really haven't learned how to fix it, start hitting balls with like a 7-iron or a 6-iron, wind it up, bump those hips, drop it in, and make sure once it drops in here that you release those arms. Let the arms roll over to square that club face. Because always remember, as your club drops on plane, the face tends to open slightly coming down. You're going to want to then rotate it coming through. The other reason you have to teach yourself to rotate the face coming through is that if you're used to being a player who spins off the back foot this way, you're used to cutting across it, and your brain will try to keep that face open to get it onto the target line easier. If you were to release this from this angle and rotate your hands over in a release fashion, the ball will go crazy to the left. Of course, you're not going to do that more than once when you're out there on the golf course or even on the driving range. Your brain's going to try to adjust and manipulate to get you back to your target. Easiest way it does that is spin, hold the face wide open, and cut it back onto the target. Just to reiterate, I know it's kind of redundant, but you want to know that once you get this working good here, if you're a slicer, not used to rolling your arms over and squaring that face, once it's coming down lower, you've got to release it. If you don't, you'll hit it right off the hosel. It's going to be a shame. Okay, so I hope you see how getting the sequence right, pretty easy to do conceptually, can be tougher to do in actuality, but use video, use the mirror, watch yourself move in slow motion. You'll be just fine in being able to figure this out, get that ball going straight or even with a little bit of draw. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.